Hi everyone, welcome to this new session of CFA Level 2. Today we'll be going over the next reading of our curriculum from FRA, which is multinational operations. Now, multinational operations, normally when you hear this term, we think about companies or organizations that are working across domestic boundaries. They are working in multiple countries. Now, in reality, you are correct, and often the accountancy side of things is tackling this entire concept from that perspective itself, that any company that has operations in more than one country, that is dealing with more than one currency, the accounting standards normally deal with all of those. However, as I've said countless times before, despite us studying topics which might be related with accountancy, it is still an exam of finance. And our purpose is not to do financial reporting, but rather analyze the financial reporting that has already been done. So, in our syllabus, the prime focus of this entire reading is going to be how exactly does a parent company deal with a situation where its subsidiaries are dealing in some other country in some other currency. So parent might be in India and their all operations are done in Indian rupees. It might have subsidiaries in UK, it might have subsidiaries in US, which are dealing in their local currencies. So as such, how do we incorporate those within the consolidated statement of the parent company? That is the core focus we have for us in this chapter. So we are mostly going to be looking at how do I convert my subsidiaries financials into my currency so that I can further proceed with the consolidation part. Now, how do we consolidate subsidiary with the parent is something we've already discussed with the intercorporate investments. So this chapter's primary focus is how do I convert the statements of a subsidiary company or any company for that matter into some other currency. What are the methods of conversion and how exactly do we go about doing the conversion? That is the core focus of this particular reading. Now, let's start with some introductory topics. In order to understand this reading and all the concepts that are there, we first need to be familiar with a few terminologies. So firstly, let's talk about some of the basic terms, specifically talking about currencies. You have three terms used for currencies. You have local currency, you have functional currency, and you have presentation currency. Local currency is normally the currency of the country where the operations are being done. So if I talk about India, India's local currency is Indian rupees. US local currency is US dollars. So local currency is more related to the country itself, not specifically to the company rather. Functional currency is what we associate with the company. So basically, functional currency is the currency in which main operations, the core economic activity of any organization is being conducted. Whether their core business is coming in this particular currency, whether there is some other elements of the business that are handled with this particular currency. So functional currency does not have to be same as local currency. It can be different, it can be same. Just to give you an example, in India, we have a lot of companies that work in the IT services. Most of their business comes from outside the India, and as such, their primary source of revenue comes in dollars. So, as such, there is an argument to be made that for them, maybe it might be suitable for their business to treat US dollars as functional currency. Whether they do it or not, that's a separate issue. But that could be sort of an example that you can have a company set up in UK, but if most of their dealings are on international borders or on international market with dollar being the currency, then maybe it makes more sense. For example, a lot of oil companies based in Middle East, the oil prices in the international market are governed in dollars. So if I have an oil company based in Middle East, yes, my local currency would be that of the Middle Eastern countries, but my functional currency would actually be dollars because all of my dealings, all of my business dealings happen in a commodity that is trading in dollars. So you can have those kind of situations where functional currency is our core focus, and this may or may not be same as the local currency. Then we have presentation currency. Presentation currency, in the very simple sense, is the currency in which the financials of the parent company are being prepared. So if the parent company is based in US, they are making their financials in US dollars. Dollars is my presentation currency. Now it is very important to know the distinction between these three, because this entire chapter of multinational operations, this has four major concerns for us. So this will also sort of be your outlook or a map of what exactly we'll be covering in this entire chapter. So if I look at this, you have two or three concerns by which you make your approach as to how you will deal with the multinational operations. So first situation we can have is that local currency is same as functional currency, which means wherever my company is operating, my business currency, the one I do most of my dealings in, and the currency of that local country are same. And I want to convert them into presentation currency. Over here, we follow current method. We'll cover what these three methods are in detail. The other case could be that functional currency is same as presentation currency. So we have a situation where you have local currency. This has to be converted all the way up to functional currency, which is same as presentation currency. So basically, any company operating in India will present its financials in Indian rupees. So if the functional currency is different and the parent company outside India is also showing that same currency, I would convert it for my consolidated financials. So in this particular case, where functional currency is same as presentation currency, and I want to convert from local currency to my presentation currency directly, we use temporal method. And then the third case that we have is specifically focused on a situation where all three currencies are different. My local currency is something else, functional is something else, presentation is entirely something else. In that case, we just do a simple process. From local currency, you convert into functional currency by way of temporal method. And from functional currency, you convert to presentation currency by way of current method. So effectively, while you have three possible ways in which these situations will be dealt with, you only have two methods that we'll have to cover in detail. So now the entire focus of this topic, this chapter, is going to be on understanding what the current rate method is and what the temporal method is, how both of these work, understanding their rules, and seeing how they are going to take effect with actual income statement and balance sheet by way of some examples. That's the core of what we have to study for this particular reading. Aside from that, towards the end of the reading, you also have a specific case dealing with hyperinflation. So we'll cover that as well towards the end of this reading. Now, aside from these, there is one more small thing that you and I need to be aware of. Whenever we convert the financials from one currency to another, we need some sort of currency exchange rates. There can be three types of rates. You can have historical rate, you can have average, or you can have current exchange rate. So you can have three types of exchange rates. Historical rate is the rate that existed at the time transaction actually took place. So let's say I bought a machine 5 years ago. The actual exchange rate that existed at the time when I bought the machine, if I'm referring to that, that is known as historical rate, the actual rate at the time of transaction. Average rate is basically an average of all currency rates that existed during the entire financial year. So if I'm making financials for the year 2020-21, the entire year will be taken as a sort of sample space. I will check that in this entire year, did we have currency movements? If yes, we'll average them out, and that would be my average exchange rate. And current exchange rate is normally the rate on the date of preparation of financials. I make financial statements at the end of the financial year. So whatever the exchange rate is on that last day, on the date of making balance sheet, that becomes my current exchange rate. So just some terminologies that you need to be aware of. How we apply these within current method, temporal method, we'll cover that in much more detail. Now, aside from this, one minor discussion that you have is that for functional currency, how exactly does the business decide this? The general idea is they look at the business environment and what is the core operations that they do, how they do transactions regarding those core operations. IASB, the governing body for IFRS, they have given some rules for the management to consider. So they are not imposing that management has to follow these rules. Rather, they are giving some recommendations that management can decide functional currency by seeing that in which currency do they sell their goods, in which currency, or what is the currency of the country whose regulatory authorities govern their operations. So for example, I am into selling of automobiles and I'm selling automobiles in India. So I have to comply with the emission norms of Government of India and some other regulatory norms. So if I'm complying for all of my operations with regulations of a particular country, IASB says maybe that should also be a consideration for you to select Indian rupees as your functional currency. So they are giving a few pointers as to what management can consider when they are deciding the functional currency, because effectively it's management's decision as to what they believe is the appropriate functional currency for the business. With all of that out of the way, let's start with the first method we have, the current rate method. So the first method that we have to be clear on is the current rate method. Now, current rate method has a few basic rules that we need to be aware of. So let's go through them. The first rule is that all income statement items, so the entire income statement from top to bottom, will be converted using average rates. Then the second rule is that all balance sheet items will be converted using current rate, which means whatever the exchange rate is on the date of making the conversion, on the date of restating my financials into a different currency, on that date, whatever the exchange rate is, we'll use that rate to change the value of all balance sheet items. Now, this second rule, it has an exception. Exception being common stock. Common stock will not be converted to a different currency using current rate. Rather, for common stock, we will use common stock will be converted by historical rate. So whatever the actual exchange rate was at the time when the equity shares were issued, that is the rate we will use to convert the value of common stock. Now, of course, if I'm converting income statement with average rate and balance sheet using current rate, these rates might not be same. I'm also converting common stock using historical rate. So all of these rates might be slightly different, which might create a situation for me that in my initial local currency or whatever my initial statements were, my balance sheet total was matching up. But now we might have a situation where the balance sheet total might not add up. So in that specific case, currency translation adjustment is the balancing figure in balance sheet showcased with equity. So in equity, we will add a new element, a new item to our converted financials by the name of currency translation adjustment, and the value of this will be exactly equal to the value we need to make the balance sheet totals of liability and asset side match with each other. So if there is a difference between the total of balance sheets not coming out equal, the plug figure, the balancing figure that would make those figures become equal is known as currency translation adjustment. And this, if you remember from level 1, we used to showcase this as part of OCI, and OCI is part of equity itself. The idea behind this is fairly simple. This is some sort of gain or loss in an unrealized manner that I am having simply because of converting my financials from one currency to some other currency. So the gain or loss, unrealized gain or loss that you might have due to converting your financials into a different currency, that is known as currency translation adjustment. We have this. Now keep in mind, if common stock is being converted using historical rate, dividend would also be converted using historical rate. So the first one also has an exception, that dividend would also use historical rate. Now historical rate for dividend would be the rate that existed on the day when dividend was declared. So we will not take exchange rate on the date when dividend is paid. Rather, we'll take exchange rate on the date when dividend is declared, because the moment you declare a dividend, it becomes an obligation. You have to pay it. So the day on which the obligation is established, that is the day which we'll take here. So income statement on average rates except dividend, and balance sheet on current rate except common equity. If there is anything that doesn't balance out in the balance sheet, we'll plug the value of currency translation adjustment. Now keep in mind, these are the rules. However, for your exam and for your solution, one note: in current rate method, always solve income statement first. You'll solve the income statement, you will get the net income. If there is dividend, you will remove the dividend and get retained earnings. Only retained earnings gets transferred to the balance sheet value. So it is very important that we keep the values of retained earning as we got from the income statement itself. So we won't restate retained earning in the balance sheet outright directly using the current rate. Rather, whatever retained earnings we get from the converted income statement, we'll plug that into our new balance sheet. That is how we'll get reference of currency translation adjustment. I know all of it might seem a little technical, so let's do one thing. Let's take an example to understand this with more clarity.